We'll take questions from the media first.
I guess one of the things that you stressed from the day that you got here was that you wanted to recruit this state to the best that you could. I know you just touched on it a little bit, but talk about the success you guys had recruiting in Montana this year.
I think our Montana class is tremendous. 8 players. We've got several guys from across the state, different places, different levels of football, from 6-man to AA, different kinds of athletes. We're very excited about a couple of legacy guys, familiar names, Big Nell and Verlanik in the class. But we also have a guy, Lee Perkins, from Great Falls, whose parents both graduated from the other school over there. So it didn't have to be a legacy. And, we're excited about that. I think these guys are going to be very good, solid players. They're dedicated to the state of Montana. They're dedicated to Montana State now. And, they're going to work hard because they love this program. And they didn't all grow up Bobcats. Taylor Dees over at Huntley Project is a young man who grew up, he said this in his comments. He grew up as a Grizzly fan. And, we got in and got involved with him. He really enjoyed the relationship he had with Coach Beck in our camps and the correspondence we had. And, he's coming. He's going to be a Bobcat, and he's excited about that. So it wasn't just a matter of guys just sort of gravitating to their school where they happen to be on that side of the fence. I think our coaching staff went out and aggressively recruited the best players in the state, and I think we got most of them.
You've been chasing down, courting these guys for months and months and months. When it gets to this day, how much of a relief is it for you guys to just have it signed and they're coming here, there's no question they're going anywhere else?
I can't tell you, how much of a relief it is. There's a great, it's, to me, this is the best day of the year, really, in the football year, because this process goes on all season, all throughout the entire year. And it starts, we'll give ourselves about a month here to get ready for spring ball, and then right when we get into spring ball, we'll start working on juniors. We've got the lists ordered, and they're coming in. They're going to come in the mail here and on the discs and the juniors. In fact, we spent 2 or 3 hours today looking at juniors, because we're already started on that process. So it is never-ending, time-consuming, and very exhausting. But today is the day when it's all worthwhile. There's also a lot of fluctuation down the stretch in the recruiting process. It's very brutally competitive. And guys will be committed and then they'll decommit. That's a brand new word, by the way, in the world of college football in the last 3 or 4 years. Decommit. It's a household word now. And guys do it. They commit, they decommit, they change. A guy will have no offer, and then the next weekend he'll have 3 offers, and so it changes virtually every couple of hours. And to finally get the names on the page, to have the letters signed, now there's nothing else that can happen. They're going to be in the fold, and even if they've said all along they're committed, they're not really committed till the fax comes across the machine and you see it there and it's in writing, and it is a tremendous relief. And I think it's a relief for the players too. The phone will stop ringing. I tell all these young men down the stretch, I tell them, you better enjoy this because you'll never be this popular again.
This question is for Rob and Noah. Noah, you and I at the beginning of the season talked a lot about some of the needs that you guys had and were trying to address in the recruiting season. And for you, Rob, this is a question you can probably speak to as well. How do you feel you did addressing some of those needs, like running back and linebacker?
Well, that was the big thing was linebacker initially, because we had 3 graduating seniors and a couple guys that were injured. And I'm really happy that we signed 2 outstanding linebackers and at least 2 other players who could play linebacker. And so we've got numbers there, we've got options, we've got people we can put in those places. I think that we did a terrific job with that. The 2 linebackers are Na'a Moyakiola from Texas, and then Mike Foster from Houston. And then we have Stephen Bethley from California and Rhett Young from Augusta here in Montana. Those guys are all, the first 2 are linebackers, that's their specific position. The other 2 are athletes who could play linebacker. So I feel good about the numbers there. Running back, we only had the 1 scholarship to go out and look for, and we tried to find a guy who could help us and maybe immediately at least contend as a freshman. I think Kerry Sloan can do that. I think Kerry's big enough and strong enough and mature enough and skilled enough that he can compete. I'm not handing him the job, but he's going to be able to compete, I think, early in his career, in his freshman year.
Is Kerry the most physically ready player that you have in this class to come in and step in right away?
Oh, no, I think there's some other guys that are physically ready to come in, but he certainly as a running back, we anticipate he'll be able to compete. But I don't think he's the only one.
Who are some of those other guys?
I think John Ellis can compete as a receiver. But we're deeper at receiver than we've been in previous years, so it's tougher and tougher for a young guy to come in and play. But I think he has the potential. I think Zach Logan in the defensive line is physically ready to compete potentially. Who else would you say? No, those two in particular.
Some of those linebackers are going to have to
some of the linebackers may have to play. And I think there's quite a few. I mean, I would probably have to read half the list, but I think there's probably out of those 18, 7 or 8 or 9 guys who could help us on special teams.